How avoidance show love without saying I love you. Sometimes the loudest I love you isn't spoken. It's not written in a text. It's not heard at midnight on the phone. When it comes to avoidantly attached people, love often whispers through actions, habits, silence, and the spaces in between. For those on the outside, it can feel confusing, even cold. But if you know what to look for, you'll see that avoidance do express love, just not in the way most people expect. Today, we're diving into the subtle, often misunderstood ways avoidance show they care, without ever saying those three words. Let's start with a common misconception, that avoidants don't feel deeply, that they're emotionally detached, disconnected, or indifferent. But that's not the truth. Most avoidants have very intense emotional worlds. The difference is, they've learned to survive by keeping those emotions hidden, especially in relationships. They were often raised in environments where emotional expression wasn't safe or welcome. So when love shows up, it's not a celebration for them. It's a threat. And instead of leaning in, they pull away. Not because they don't love you, but because they don't know what to do with that level of vulnerability. One of the first ways avoidants show love is through consistency in action, not words. They might not compliment you daily or say how much they miss you, but they'll show up. They'll fix something you mentioned in passing. They'll offer to pick you up from the airport. They'll do small favors that don't seem romantic, but are actually their way of being close without getting too close emotionally. It's not flashy, it's not poetic, but in their world, it's love with a safety net. It's, I won't say it, but I'll be there. Another sign is protectiveness. When an avoidant cares, they become low-key guardians. You might notice them silently stepping in when you're overwhelmed or subtly removing stress from your life. They may not say, I love you, but they'll watch your back at a party. They'll quietly support your decisions. They'll worry about you driving home late, even if they don't say a word. Love for them often wears the armor of concern. It doesn't want to overwhelm you, it just wants to protect you from afar. Let's talk about physical touch. This one can be tricky. Some avoidants avoid touch altogether, especially in early stages. But once they begin to trust, they'll initiate subtle forms of closeness, maybe resting their hand on yours while watching TV or brushing hair out of your face. It won't be overt PDA or dramatic passion, but in their world, letting someone physically close is a vulnerable act. If an avoidant is physically affectionate in their own quiet way, it often means they've let their guard down. Not completely, but enough to say, you're safe here. Then there's shared routines. For an avoidant, building routine with someone is a massive step. It's their way of establishing connection without emotional intensity. You might notice they invite you into mundane moments, going grocery shopping together, working in the same room, or watching the same show every Thursday. These rituals might feel ordinary, but they're sacred to the avoidant. It means you've become a consistent part of their life, and that consistency is how they say, you matter. Here's something avoidance won't tell you. They replay your words more than you think. While they may seem dismissive during deep conversations, many avoidants process things later, alone. If you've ever opened up to one and felt like it didn't land, don't assume they didn't care. Avoidants often revisit those talks in their head long after the moment has passed. And when they change behavior later on, like honoring a boundary you mentioned weeks ago, that's love. It's processed love, slow-burning love, but real love. Let's not forget the way avoidants remember the little things. They might not do grand romantic gestures, but they'll remember the exact way you like your coffee. They'll recall stories you told once when you thought they weren't listening. They might buy you something random but deeply thoughtful, like that book you mentioned in passing or your favorite childhood candy. This attention to detail is their version of emotional intimacy. They're saying, I see you, even if their face doesn't show it. Now, something important, avoidants often sabotage closeness right after they feel it. It's one of the most painful dynamics to experience. You have a beautiful moment of connection, and then they pull away. They cancel plans. They go silent. It's not because they didn't feel what you felt. It's because they did. And feeling that much closeness can be terrifying to someone whose nervous system is wired to associate vulnerability with danger. So when they ghost after a deep night of connection, it's not rejection, it's self-protection. It's love clashing with fear. Another quiet gesture? Letting you in on their past. Avoidants are notoriously private, but when they start to open up about their childhood, their family, or a painful moment, they're inviting you into a locked room. Even if the story is brief or emotionally neutral, it means they're choosing to include you in a place they normally guard. This doesn't happen often. So if it does, don't push. Just listen. That moment is more intimate to them than any romantic dinner could ever be. Also, pay attention to when they come back. An avoidant who cares might disappear emotionally or physically, but they circle back. They check in after the storm. They try to reconnect in subtle ways. Maybe it's a meme. Maybe it's a random, hey. It doesn't sound like I'm sorry I panicked and shut down, but that's what it is. They're saying, I miss you in the only way they know how. And if you can meet them with calm boundaries instead of punishment, they often start to soften over time. Something else to consider. Avoidance, love through self-control. That may sound strange, but hear this. If an avoidant feels drawn to you but doesn't want to hurt you, they'll sometimes restrain themselves. They won't start drama. They won't chase attention. They won't overwhelm you with affection they can't sustain. Their restraint isn't coldness, it's fear of ruining something important. They love carefully, often to a fault. But the care is real. Of course, all of this doesn't mean you should tolerate emotional unavailability or confusion forever. You deserve emotional clarity. You deserve love in a language you understand. But if you're in a relationship with someone avoidant, and you've seen these subtle signs, it might help you reframe the story. Sometimes the problem isn't a lack of love, it's the delivery method. So what can you do with this knowledge? First, stop looking for love in just words. Look at actions. Look at patterns. Does their behavior shift when you're upset? Do they respect your needs even if they struggle to discuss them? Do they show up when it counts, even if they don't say much? That's love, wrapped in caution tape. And if you want to keep loving an avoidant, you have to honor the love you're receiving while still advocating for the love you need. Second, create safety, not pressure. Avoidants grow in connection when they feel emotionally safe, not when they feel emotionally cornered. Ask open questions. Stay grounded during conflict. Validate their fear without shrinking your truth. Let them know, you don't have to be perfect to be close to me, but we both deserve to feel safe here. Lastly, know when to walk away. If their fear always outweighs their effort, if their love never meets you halfway, then your job isn't to teach them how to love you. It's to love yourself enough to let go. But if they're trying, even slowly, even imperfectly, then what you might be witnessing is real love, just not in the language you're used to hearing. Avoidance may never say, I love you the way you want to hear it. But look closely, in the way they show up, in the way they pull you close and then panic, in the way they circle back when you least expect it, there is love. Fragile, guarded, but real. And sometimes recognizing that love is the first step toward healing it.